Putin says he's not bluffing when he says he's going to use all means to defend Russia, including potentially using nuclear weapons. Joining us right now to talk about this and Putin's nuclear threat is Alex Karp, CEO and co-founder of Palantir. And the last time we saw you in Aspen and prior to that in Davos, in some ways you called this in terms of this potential threat. So where are we really at this point?
Well, you know, it was a pleasure to talk to you then and a pleasure to talk to both of you now. You know, when we were talking about the reality that nuclear weapons are on the table 3 and 2 months ago, of course, that was derided. The general belief I had just comes from building a software business and seeing software in action in war, where software plus heroism can really slay the giant. And I know the Russians just underestimated the power of kinetic plus software plus heroism. And then I believe it's a zero-sum game in Russia, and there is no ability for Putin to lose. He can't just fail at war and then retire, which is what we're used to in democracy. You know, politicians fail, and then we have another politician. And so the reason why I was sounding the alarm at Davos, and then again when we talked to much derision, was simply this combination of American software, the way we build software, plus a kind of heroism that is very unusual, would outperform the giant of spend. And that leads to just this jarring reaction. And we don't want to believe in the West that people would be zero-sum. We're not that zero-sum in the West.
So basically, he's been backed into a corner. He's a caged animal. He will do crazy things that we
You're
can't.
backed into a corner where the corner is, if you fail, you'll be killed. Your friends will be killed. Your family will lose their assets.
So how do you then handicap what his options are?
Well,
and what the real possibility of him using nuclear weapons?
What I believe we should do is continue to support Ukraine and begin to engage in a dialogue where we figure out what it looks like for him to fail without having to say at home he failed. Now,
so what does that look like to you?
Well, Ukrainians have to decide. I know, having gone there, that they very much believe that their territory should be respected. I think we in the West should stick by the line that every country should be able to have its own sovereignty over its territory. I don't know. But I do know the things that we discussed and predicted that Ukraine would massively outperform have happened. The danger scenario of massive outperformance is that your adversary is backed into a corner, whether that's...
But if he's failing and we need to find a way for him to look like he hasn't failed to his own people, what is that?
Well, we're very good at that in the U.S. We're failing at a lot of stuff, and we convince ourselves we're not. Somebody has got to be somebody who's very good at this. Like, what does a politician do for a living? I mean, I happen to be more on the left. Some people are more on the right. The job of a politician is to convince you haven't failed, and then get your vote.
You sound like Henry Kissinger, though. So, basically, we're going to have to give something away. But it's
well,
not ours to give.
Henry, I discussed this with him. He believes that my belief is the Ukrainians decide. But you need someone who's not me. Like, I'm not adept. My job is to actually deliver something that works and win. There are people whose whole professions are to help you explain to your people why it wasn't a failure. I don't do that for a living. But I do know that somebody who does that for a living needs to be very engaged right now, because if you've won something against all odds, whether it's less importantly, a tech company, or you've defended I don't actually believe most people in the West, in America and England, really believed Ukraine could win. Right. And in fact, I know they didn't believe this because through our clients, hear what the assessments were. But if you've won against all odds, you've cost your family members have died. There's no way you're going to compromise unless it's on your terms.
That's why I think it's gotten so much more complicated.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have to roll in people who are specialized at that. And people who are specialized at are called politicians. That's what they do for a living. And they need to sit down and figure out how do you explain to the Russian people that although you failed, it's not a failure. And there is a way to do that. But first you have to begin. And the beginning part is, look, if you've won something in a negotiation against all odds, both parties have to accept you've won.